Pictures are worth 1,000 words. Well, so are statues. This is a statue of Rome's first emperor, the Emperor Augustus. Augustus will start a period in Roman history called the Pax Romana, or the Peace of Rome, what historians call Roman peace. Now, it doesn't mean that Rome didn't have wars, but in the empire there was a period of safety with no foreign invasion and trade began to grow. To best create this period, Augustus and later emperors want the people of the empire to know exactly who the emperor is. Today, everyone has a mental image of the president because we see his face all the time on newspapers and televisions. Well, the Romans didn't have those things, so Augustus ordered one of the statues of him to be made and put all over the Roman Empire. This one statue was reproduced later over and over again, so a trader leaving a port in Italy would see Augustus as if he was saying, "Goodbye, have a safe trip," and then later, when he was arriving in Egypt at a port, he would see the same exact statue of Augustus as if he was saying, "Hello, welcome." So what does Augustus want his people to think about him from this one statue? Well, pause this for 1 second and think about what Augustus is trying to tell you. Look at the statue and what can you see? Okay, ready? Here's what he's trying to tell you. First, let's start at his head. If you're looking at Augustus, what's he trying to tell you about himself? Well, first off, Augustus ruled the empire a long time, all the way into old age. But as you look at this statue and his face, he's middle-aged. No statues were ever made of him as old. Instead, this is Augustus in his prime. Why? He wants the people to look at him and think of him as young, youthful, somebody who's always energetic. At this time period, youth was considered a good sign of a good leader. Now, is Augustus smiling? Is he frowning? Is he sad? No. Augustus wants to come across as an expressionless person, a person that does not take things lightly. But also, he's not to be seen as a cruel or harsh ruler, more a very serious man, somebody not to be messed with. Now, when you look at his right hand is kind of out pointing. It's almost as if he's waving to you. Now, this was from a Roman tradition that we still use today. When we meet somebody, we usually extend our hand in friendship. To do it correctly, you shake one's right hand. Sometimes people even say, "Peace be with you," when they shake hands. Well, this is what the Romans were doing. It was the Romans' way of saying, "Hey, look, I'm not coming here to fight you, but instead I'm offering you my hand, the hand of a friend." The Romans, also being untrusting people, didn't just shake hands. They actually grabbed each other's forearms. It was a way of checking to make sure literally there was nothing up their sleeves, like a knife. If you look at the statue of Augustus, Augustus does not have a long shirt on. Instead, you can see all the way up his forearm. It's his way of showing that he's hiding nothing from his people. He instead is saying, "Come, enjoy the games, enjoy the theater, enjoy my city, as if you were my friend." If you continue working your way to the right, you can now see that Augustus is wearing a breastplate. This is not something that you would wear any time of the day. This is something that you would be wearing if you were planning on going to war. What he's saying is that be careful. You can come to my empire, you can come to my cities, but don't break the rules. I'm here, ready to enforce them. I'm always ready for war. I'm not a guy to be messed with. So, if he's ready for war, why doesn't he have any weapons? Doesn't seem to make sense. Well, again, it's his way of warning everyone in the empire. Now, if you look what's in his left hand, it's a big staff, what we today call the royal scepter. It's what the Romans, though, called the imperium. In it, Augustus is saying that he has in his hand, literally, the full force of the Roman Empire. Don't mess with him or his authority, because he controls all Rome. All that? Wow, I guess the guy really is saying a lot. But wait, there's even more. Let's now look at the very, very bottom. If you look at the bottom, there's something pretty unusual about Augustus. After all, he was the richest man in the whole world. That's right, he has no shoes. Odd, huh? Well, not if you were trying to make it seem like you could walk literally anywhere amongst your people. What Augustus is trying to say is something new in Roman culture. This is an attempt at making the Romans think of the emperor as a god. All without shoes. Seems like a little bit of a stretch, right? but not when you take into account this little boy who's looking up at Augustus. This little boy is Venus, the goddess of love's very own son, who, when told to, would shoot arrows at people and make them fall madly in love. That's right, this little boy is none other than Cupid. By having Cupid in the statue, Augustus is making connection to his family's long time held claim that they are related to Venus, the goddess of love. And if they're related to the goddess of love, therefore they are also a god. It was a claim that his adopted father, Julius Caesar, often made. By doing this, Augustus starts a tradition that the emperor is no longer just an emperor, but also a god. In fact, to keep this tradition going, Augustus will even change the Roman calendar. He will name 1 month after his adopted father, Julius, and 1 month after himself, Augustus. Today, those months are the months of July and August. That's a lot in one statue, huh? Well, we wouldn't do anything like that today in America. Well, guess again. Let's real fast just look at two paintings of our very own President, George Washington. This is a painting of President Washington when he was a President of the United States of America. It's taken kind of in what today would be the Oval Office, even though Washington didn't live in the White House. At this time period, we are, in American history, having a little bit of a problem with the British again. Washington is trying repeatedly to make a peace treaty. In fact, that's kind of what he's pointing to in his right hand. He's pointing to documents that represent the peace treaty that he's offering the British. But if the British aren't willing to accept this peace treaty, Washington in his left hand is holding something to say that he's ready for war. Can you see what he's holding? That's right, his hand's on a sword. The interesting thing about this painting also is that if you look past the documents, there's a window. The window is open, and in it there's a sun. The sun can be represented as either the sun is rising, showing a sign of a bright future, or the sun is a setting sun, kind of like the sun is going down. Also, the window is open. So, this is the initial painting that went to England when Washington sent the document. Let's see what happens a little bit later when things come back. Now, the same painting, but it's a little different. The documents are now kind of covered up, as if Washington has said, hey, the time for peace has come and gone. Again, notice his right hand is out, as if he's offering friendship. This time the sword is a little tilted, as if he's ready to draw it. And notice, the window, it's getting closed. It's starting to go down. Washington, just like Augustus, is trying to convey meaning with art. Pretty cool, huh? Well, it all starts with the Romans, and we continue it later. Pictures really are worth 1,000 words. If you haven't finished yet, please rewind and try and find some information that you can on the Emperor Augustus statue. Make sure that you can identify at least 4 things about this statue that Augustus is trying to tell his people. And don't forget, what's that Pax Romana? I'll see you tomorrow in class. Thanks, kids.